listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin. To master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Once you walked in a forest of splendor in which everything you did and everything you thought was aligned. It is possible at this time to begin to return to the old knowledge. Intuitive healer and manifestor Julia Griffin is here to talk about this unique time in history when all sentient beings, animals, plants, trees, and the earth are intent on creating this change. The wolves awakened her to the most incredible light, which opened gifts and brought knowledge that she longs to share. You are creators, and you are born to be creators of beauty, possibility, and joy. Join Julia on a journey into a beautiful and magical world where amazing possibilities exist. Let us help open the door. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening with Julia Griffin starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin, and I'm so happy to be here with you this week. You're listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. For those of you who don't know me, I awakened with wolves. When I met a wolf, a real wolf, it talked to me the same way that people talk, and they taught me to read the energy of the heart. I can intuitively hear plants, animals, and the thoughts of people, and I became an intuitive healer and a writer as a result. And you can find me at trueself.com. Today I have a very special guest and friend. I'm so happy to have her here, Cynthia Segal. Welcome, Cynthia.
Howdy.
Okay, so I want to tell you about Cynthia. Her client success rate comes from taking the long view. She starts by telling you that you've lived for thousands of lifetimes over millions of years. And once you really get that perspective into your life, she said, it helps with everything in this lifetime to fall into place. Want to know why you're living with a repeating pattern? Why you can't find real love while financial freedom eludes you? Clean up your past lives, Cynthia says. Through an amazing process, Cynthia leads you into past lives where you get to experience what happened, release the dark energy, forgive yourself and everyone else, and then fill up with love and light. She is accustomed to people saying, I felt a huge shift in my relationship after one session. My back pain is gone. No one ever suggested it came from my past lives. I'm happier than I've ever been, really deeply happy. Cynthia is a world-renowned, top-ranked oracle, psychic, and healer. Her clients rely on her to answer their questions about health, wealth, and their personal affairs. She also communicates with the dearly departed and mentors clients to develop their own skills. Her clients span 28 countries and are loyal to her brand of honesty, integrity, and never uplifting humor and laughter. So now you know about Cynthia.
Yeah.
And something that you probably don't know is that she is an extraordinarily happy person. I have seen her go through really difficult things. I have seen her talk to me when I was in a really bad mood, and she always makes me happy. So I want to know, what's the secret of your happiness, and how do you manage to always stay there?
So quite bluntly, the secret is don't give a shit, because everything that's happening to you and to your body has nothing to do with who you are and what you're here to do. And once you really understand that, once you really get, I am so magnificent, this moment sucks, but I am so great, then it's easy to find you're happy. There's also, I have lots of tools and tips and tricks to get you back into happy if you start believing what you see in front of you is real life.
And it happens sometimes to all of us.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard, too, when you're going through big changes, but you still seem to always manage it. Would you give us a couple of tips? I know that would help people. And some people, from what I can tell, have never been happy interestingly enough. Where would they start?
Some people are happy not being happy. Like that's their level of happiness.
Right.
So you really, I know you keep saying I've made you happy several times, but I really can't make anybody anything. I can be an example of what maybe you would like to be. I can lead you to where you could be happier if you choose to it. And you can. There's so many people that have come to me and they're like, everything's falling apart. My life is horrible. And I agree with them. And they go, what? You're not supposed to agree with me. You're supposed to make it better. And that's when I say, I can't make it better, but if you want to, I'll show you how.
Right. And another part of it is having a high vibration, and you're pretty good at maintaining that, I would say.
Yes, that is, that's the difference between knowing what is real in your life and knowing nothing in your life is real. So I have a favorite expression that I try to get my clients to quote. I am rarely limited by reality.
Well,
Because,
let's explain why.
okay,
Because when you're in your inner self or you're on a higher vibration,
right,
everything is moving. Everything on this planet is in motion. But when you go to that higher vibration, it starts to align with the good parts of you.
exactly, exactly. So the trick is to get up to that higher vibration. And
Mhm.
that's one of the things that I'm happy to knock my clients around till they get it. Because I'm not leaving you on the toilet when we could be sitting on thrones.
Exactly. Or just feeling the beauty of life, because that's one thing that we have every day. It doesn't mean that we're always in it, but it means that we have a choice to get into it. If we
Right,
think the right thoughts, or we call someone who can work with us or work on us and get
right.
us up there.
And I will acknowledge it's very difficult for some people to
Hmm.
get into happy and almost impossible to stay happy. And so I have a numbering system that I teach. And I say to my clients, all right, what percent of yesterday were you happy? And they'll go, oh, I was happy all day. And I'd say, okay, let's count. And they go 0, 10, 10. I was only happy 10% of the day yesterday. And
Hmm.
I'll say, wow, but look how you felt with only 10%. Can you imagine if we could get that higher? So the numbering system, I think, is a huge part of what I teach because it's very nice. Oh, I feel happy. I don't feel as happy. I could be happier. But if you have a number on it, like, wow, I'm 50% as happy as I could be, then you have a goal and you have an understanding. This is what 10% happy feels like.
Hmm. And it's allowing yourself sometimes to go beyond those limits.
Exactly.
I mean, just as an example, I did not sleep Tuesday night, and I think I had 3 or 4 hours of readings and a class. Fortunately, I'd done all the work for the class, but I thought, well, the universe put me here to do this, and I want to do this for these people. And I do really love to do readings, but what surprised me is that even though it felt like they took 2 hours instead of one, they gave me a lot of energy
Right.
because they made me realign.
Exactly. Take you up to that higher
They took me
energy.
higher because I couldn't
Right.
help anyone unless I went higher. So
Exactly.
that was so interesting. I'm like, wow, I don't
Yeah.
think I can advertise this as a cure, but it sure does help.
And that's why I love doing sessions with clients because I channel the information. So when I'm channeling Cynthia's consciousness and all her perceived problems of reality disappear, and I'm up at a higher level, just bringing through the information that you need to hear. And oftentimes, my little timer will go off that it's been an hour, and I go, "What? Oh, okay." Sorry, bye.
I know. I think sometimes, where did I go? Oh, well, it was good.
It was great. And I
Yeah.
also invite my clients to record our session because I'm channeling. So if you were to say to me, wow, that's a great answer, can you repeat it? I can't,
Right.
because Cynthia didn't say it. It came through me. It didn't stick in my brain, which actually gives me a lot of freedom because I don't want to remember all your problems. I just want to see your smiling face at the end of the session.
Now, I remember the part that pertains to the soul, not like what's bothering me now, but what the solution was. And
Right.
that's interesting. That's something different entirely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remembered the whole session, it would be like what you said. I don't want to really remember it.
Right. And you don't want to remember it either. Let's get rid of it
I
and
know.
move
Let's say
on.
it never happened. We're in a new
Right.
reality. So when your gifts came in, you had a pretty amazing awakening, I would say. What happened?
My life seems to be giant steps forward. It's a good thing I'm a climber. I was, I guess, when I was about 50, I started asking earnestly, what am I here to do? I was very good in computers. I don't know, I billed myself as a computer proctologist because they were knee deep in it and really needed help. And I would just come in and sweep it all up and make it all better. But I kept asking, there must be something more for me to do. And then one afternoon, sitting in my living room, minding my own business, which, as you know, I never do, I got this download of every psychic skill I'd ever heard about, some I never even knew about, how to use them and how to teach them. And I remember at the end of that, what seemed like a month of my life, which was actually about clock time, 40 minutes, I remember saying to, at the time, I thought I was talking to God. I didn't realize I was talking to my higher self. I
Right.
said, this is really great. And okay, I'll do this if you promise to keep me in pretty dresses. Because my definition of wealth, if you will, is that everything is taken care of and I have crazy money for clothes. So I made a deal with God, if you can believe it, that I would do it for 1 year and let's just see what happens. And before the year was up, I was voted, elected, I don't know how you say it, one of the top psychics and healers in the world. So, wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty neat. And you obviously acclimated to it really quickly.
Yes, well, I had no choice. I
Hmm.
couldn't go back. When I tried to go back and do mundane things, it was no, I want to be out of here. I want to be above here. I want to be helping people. I want to see people as their soul, as their heart, not
Hmm.
as the that's going on in their head. That's probably why my hair got so curly. No, I'm kidding.
No, I had that too when I was doing readings and someone was looking for an uncle and I found him in South America. And I thought after that, I can access about any information, but I don't want it unless it pertains to the soul, because what good is it? It's just
Exactly.
transient information.
Exactly. And that's another great thing I think about you and I is that once you get up to those levels, which we both teach how to get up there,
Right.
you're accessing the astral realm. So if someone says to me, well, I'm really worried about my cousin Harry, and I'll say, okay, Harry, this, that, and the other. And they'll go, well, how do you know that? And I'll go, well, you asked me.
Right. It wasn't like I was looking for it, it just came in.
I didn't even know you had a cousin Harry. Oh, I remember one time I got a client session from Australia in the outback, and she had an emu, and her emus, it was baby emu, and the emu's mother had died, and so she put it in a pen with the aunt because it was still breastfeeding,
Right.
but it was not doing well, and she was worried about it. And I said, okay, well, I'll talk to it and let you know. She said, you'll what? I said, I'll get back to you. Give me 20 minutes. And so I talked to the emu, and the emu appears in front of me. I was in a little rental unit at the time, maybe not so little. And the emu has no hair on its head. And I said, oh, you have no hair on its head. And it puts its head back and it said, well, I will when I'm older. And then it told me what it needed and how to create the food that it needed and what color the food should be. So I called her back and I told her all this. And I told her that the color was supposed to be a paint chip called Mint Wave. And she goes, oh my God, we've been looking for a color to paint the kitchen, and I know exactly the color because here is Mint Wave. That's exactly right. The little paint chip that I have. So when I got kind of a handle on the skill set, there is no limit to where I can go or what I can find out, and it's certainly not limited to this planet.
No.
So if you're interested in what's going on in the galaxy, let's go.
So sometimes people say, I don't know if I need a session or not. What would you say means that a person should do a session with a psychic or an intuitive?
Well, if you say, I don't know if I need a session, to me, that's like, you absolutely do. Or you wouldn't even, like, why are you having a discussion with yourself? There wouldn't be a discussion. It would just be, oh, no. So I'll just say to them, what is it you want to know? And they'll go, oh, well, and go on for as long as I have patience, which is very short. And I'll say to them, okay, you know what? Let's get rid of all of this for you and find out how to make your life much better. And they go, I like that.
Because really, if people are thinking about it, something is in the way.
Exactly.
And they may not even know what it is, but it's in the way.
Exactly. It's like thinking, should I have ice cream or not? Well, in that case, depending on your weight and your diet and everything, you have factors to go by. But should I have a reading or not? You just have a problem that you can't get a handle on. So let's get rid of it.
Or at least parts of it. Because for some people, it takes several sessions to completely clear it. But at least you're clearing it and not living with it.
And that, I have found, depends on them. Like, so I remember one woman said today was the 17th anniversary of her husband's death. I said, what? She said, oh, 17 years. Can you believe that? I said, no, I can't believe you're holding on to that. I said, I celebrate my late husband's birthday and our anniversary and the good stuff. Why his dead day? First of all, they're not dead. They're totally available to be talked to. You can feel them if you want to. So I really don't get the word dead, because they left the body, which in so many cases, God bless them, they finally got out of that old worn, torn body.
Yeah. And that's another thing, is you have to love someone enough to let them go.
Yeah.
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 That's a big deal.
I was at the hospital with a client, and his mom was dying, and she wanted to go, but he was still holding on to her. And we went out into the hallway to talk to a nurse, and I see her astrally poke her head out of the room that she's in, and she's all dressed in this pretty dance dress. And she looks at me and she says, could you please tell him I can go now? Tell him to tell me that I can go now, please. And she said, Ethel is here with lipstick. We're ready to play. So I said to him, would you be okay with letting your mom go if you knew she was going to go play with Ethel, who has showed up with lipstick? And he goes, oh my God, Ethel is her long dead sister. And Ethel used to bring lipstick, and because they weren't allowed to wear lipstick, and they'd go out and play. So we let her go.
People don't know, but for many people, after they die, experience whatever they're missing in life. Like I had a neighbor who had been extremely poor as a child and never had shoes that fit or enough food. And after he died, I got this picture of angels taking care of him. And he said, they're the whitest, cleanest sheets and the best food you ever had. And then he said, I've got a brand new pocket knife and new shoes. And I
Oh,
realized it was filling up, felt like loss to him or lack. So he could
wow.
go on and go up to the higher level. But I thought that was so beautiful.
It is. There's actually, I'm Jewish, so a lot of my understanding comes from that. And there's a joke about this couple where the wife will not let the husband eat this or that. She keeps him healthy. He has to exercise, blah, blah, blah. They finally die in a car accident, suddenly gone. And they go up and they're given a choice of three monster homes that is theirs and food, all they can eat. And he looks at his wife and he said, I am not listening to you again. We could have been here 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. It's everything you ever wanted and loads of light.
Exactly.
So I was going to ask you, is there something that you would call the most common problem or feeling that you get from clients when they first start talking to you?
I spend a lot of time in their heart space. And so I like to clean up the heart, and I see little dark corners that I like to get rid of and things like that.
Right. That's
So
really beautiful.
yeah, I'd say the heart space. Because if you're holding on to little darkness, maybe you don't know how to let it go. Maybe you
Right.
don't know, if you should let it go. Maybe you don't even want to let it go. But let's talk through that and let it go.
Right. Because a lot of people identify with their sadness or identify
Right.
with being hurt, and they
Right.
think it was part of their life as opposed to something that they've picked up in life.
Like the woman whose husband died 17 years before. That's a long time to spend in the wrong place.
Right. Do you think people do it out of guilt or what they think is love or why?
Loneliness.
Oh, I see. Because they
Totally
don't feel
always.
lonely when they miss them.
Right.
They don't feel their
So
own loneliness. There's a reason for it.
right. So if I continue to tell the story of the great life I had with you, then I don't have to face my loneliness, which I'm going to say this out loud is a lack of self love. You just need to love yourself more. There's nothing you're missing.
Right. I've had the experience of wondering how I could ever feel lonely with the universe with me. And
Yeah.
then other times I felt incredibly lonely, but I also realized if I could get into a higher vibration or connect well enough with the universe, it would go away.
Yes. I remember I was at a board meeting one time and everyone went outside onto the patio. She was showing off her beautiful view of the ocean, and I stayed inside happily on the couch. And the last person out said, you don't have to stay in here alone. And I thought to myself, like that could ever happen.
So that, my friends, people ask all the time, why am I lonely? Why am I this? In those moments, that's when you really want to meditate or seek connection or meditate on pink light coming into you in your auric field because you're generating love and you're receiving love. Most of the time, myself included, we become disconnected when we're in that place.
That's the only way you can feel sadness or alone is when you're disconnected
Right.
from who you are, from, your heart.
Okay, so everyone, you're hearing it straight. That's the biggest reason for problems and feeling lonely and feeling sad, this disconnection. So, one of the things I wanted to ask you is how do you help people move through that and help and remind them to reconnect with themselves?
I have an armload of little tips and tricks. And, it's really personalized.
Right.
So, what works for one person, as you know, is not going to work for another. And as we talk about where you're I want to say, holding yourself away from love,
Right,
then I can start burying you in tips and tricks.
right. Okay, so tell us how to create change and more abundance. This is just a little trick, but it's a fun one.
All right. One way to create abundance is to get, I have a little, a crystal dish, and I have coins in it. Whenever, you see a coin on the ground. And so I pick all those up and I put them in the dish. And I'm very grateful that money comes to me from every direction all the time. And so I'll put my hand in the little coin dish and I'll go, thank you. I can't believe how abundant I am. So it's just a little toy. But that little game helps your sense of reality
Hmm.
adjust to abundance, because adjusting to abundance happens on many levels, and you might as well greet them all.
Yeah, definitely. And when I was talking to her on the phone, she was shaking it, and the sound was great. And I thought when I hung up, that's so funny because you have to change to have more abundance. You have
And
to
here's the
believe you
thing.
deserve it. You have to, be aware of it. You have to think about it. But if you're shaking the thing, it's a way of telling the universe, okay, I'm ready to get into this change. I have lots of change.
That's true.
I know. And it makes it
That's
really
great.
fun if you see it that way.
Yes. Yeah. I
And I'm,
gave that to one client to do. And we did a follow-up call. And I said to her, so, how much change have you collected? And she said, what? I said, remember we talked about that? And she goes, oh, no wonder nothing's working. I didn't do it.
Mhm. Okay, so here is a big tip right here. When you're working with someone intuitively, you get big tips for them and small ones. Oddly enough, the small ones and staying with them can sometimes be like the straw on the scale. It makes your end of the scale come up from doing those little things or from doing a lot of little things. It's amazing, but it's true.
It's true. And also finding little or big things that work for you.
Yeah.
It's very personalized.
And you should really play with the exercises and the things we're talking about today and see how you can make it work for you. And then
Right.
that's an adventure and it's exciting. And it's a lot better than just saying, all right, I don't really believe in this, but I'm going to do it until it works. If you
and
change
then
it, yeah.
and then call me and let me know what your results are, because
Hmm.
because maybe I can just tweak it a bit and we'll get it stronger results.
Right. And some people, their intuition really changes it. And for other people, they have to do it exactly like you say. So you never know. So everybody needs to play with it and see which one it is.
Yeah, I would. Why not?
Why not? What else is there to do?
Here's 5 ways to abundance, so I'm only going to do one of them.
Right.
Why?
Exactly. I know.
Why
Why
not
not
be
try all
abundant
of
and do
them?
all five?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's a little different way that intuitives see things and talk about things. We can't tell you the really big things we do because A, they're complicated and we have to be attuned to you. And B, we may have to change them for you. That's our
Right,
issue.
personalize it. Exactly.
But, if you want a reading and you want to change, then you should call. What is your website, Cynthia, so they can get your telephone number?
Cynthia Segal, Segal, cynthiasegal.com.
Okay,
I
let's
wanted to
go
get
ahead.
.com, CALM,
Hmm.
cynthiasegal.com.
Yeah,
But apparently
that's
it's not out
great.
yet.
So we're going to go ahead and go to break. Um, I'm Julia Griffin, and I've been talking with Cynthia Segal about her gifts as an intuitive, and she's generously sharing her knowledge with us. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Julia Griffin, and I'm talking with Cynthia Segal about her intuitive gifts. And she's sharing details of what she does and how her insights can help you. We've been talking about happiness, awareness, getting past blocks. And we're going to talk a little bit about miracles. We may talk about getting through your blocks and add some tips for that as well. So stay with us and learn more for the next half hour, and don't miss this. Cynthia's giving away one free question. If you go to her website, and you should be able to see it underneath her name, cynthiasegal.com, call her, leave a message, and leave your telephone number, and she'll call you back and answer your one question. No, you cannot text, because texts don't have the personal energy that a phone call does.
That's true.
Yeah. So we're good with that. So one thing I wanted to talk about is, we know really well miracles and changes and things like that happen when we're at a higher frequency. And that's a higher wavelength of energy, a higher vibration. It can be love, it can be power, it can be really tuned into the light or the earth. All of those things can take you to that vibration. So I know you've created miracles in your life and other people's lives. I wondered if you wanted to share a few examples.
I woke up this morning. That's always the first miracle. I think that the way to create miracles is to acknowledge that everything is a miracle. So you're staying in a state of gratitude, which invites more miracles. I was in Colorado for a few years, and I needed to find a new place to live, and I had no idea where this would be, but I knew the feeling of where I wanted to be. And two of my friends drove from Florida all the way to Colorado Springs to tell me to come stay with them on the beach in Hollywood, Florida. So I think that's a miracle.
I do too. I definitely think it's a miracle.
So by holding the energy of what you want, you allow the universe to rearrange itself. Yes, it's rearranging itself to give you the experience that you've called forth, which is why if you spend most of the day recounting things that are going wrong and not working, then you're going to get more things to count that are not going right, that are not working.
Let's
So
tell them. I mean, but people who have health problems and keep talking about them, they don't know it,
Right.
but they're making them so much worse.
They are. And one of my pet peeves is people that say, oh, I've been cancer free for, whatever, a year or whatever. And every day, all day long, they're saying, I'm so grateful I don't have cancer. I don't have cancer, don't have cancer, don't have cancer. So what are they calling to themselves? Like,
Yeah.
they're calling cancer to themselves. I was invited to be on the board of breast cancer prevention. And I said, as soon as you call it breast health,
Right.
I'm on that board.
And people really have no idea how they call things in.
Right. Exactly. Ocean view.
Right.
Ocean view.
Mountains, clouds, rain, waterfalls. Switch it that way. And then one thing I've learned is, whether I feel that way or not, as I said, I was exceptionally tired yesterday. I always say, oh, wow, it's a new day. I'm so happy. And then I'll say, I feel so good. And sometimes another part of me will say, well, you don't feel great. I'm like, I know, but it's good enough. Let's go. Yeah. And so you can kind of play with it.
Absolutely. You must. You must. Because you're surrounded by millions of people who are looking for the worst.
Right.
You have to be your own light. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to be the one that talks good stuff to you about you, like good stuff all day long. Like,
I remember once I interviewed Prince Harinder Singh, and he had been the son of a king in India. And so he had grown up with that, but he came over here to study, to share spiritual truth and the things he learned. And he said, if you really want to get rid of pollution on the earth, he said, teach people to stop having negative thoughts. He said, they're like ticks, sucking up all the good energy.
Yes, because we create with our thoughts and our words. So
Hmm.
you're actually casting spells,
Right.
magical spells, all day long by talking. Talkie, talkie, talkie.
Right.
I'm so fat. I'm so fat. Wish I could lose weight instead of, wow, I would look really great, skinnier, like
Hmm.
that.
And
What
I'm
is it that
excited
you,
about it.
right? And it's it's getting to what is it you really, really want? I don't want to be fat. Okay. What is it you really, really want? Well, I'd like to have a great body. All right. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that a lot.
Yeah. Talk about that energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. What you do want.
And people can say, I don't care what it looks like around me. I am so strongly holding a healed earth with no pollution that it's going to come one of these days instead of
It
going
is.
into what are we doing? Yeah.
I'm doing that with cleaning the ocean. That's my little project.
Well, it is cleaner where you are. I can feel that when you say it.
Yeah, it is.
It's working. Think, folks, if we had a million people working like this, the change that there would be.
Wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't it be wonderful?
So much illness would go away. People would not always have their feelings hurt or be holding on to bad feelings from the past. We'd move into a place of love. And probably we could just imagine something good and it would go bing.
I love it when someone says to me, well, I don't believe in magic. And I'll say, well, every word that comes out of your mouth is casting a magic spell.
Right.
So you must believe in magic because you're doing it all day long.
When I became really aware of the negative ways at some of the time that I was using my mind, first of all, if I thought about a friend or someone I knew in a negative way, I would hit my head on the counter when I stood up. So I stopped doing that. Now, the next thing is if I think something negative about life in general, and I go barefooted a lot of the time, I'll step on a rock or the
Oh,
dog will step on my foot. I'm like, okay, I get it.
huh.
Well, it pulls me
And
back out of my circular thought pattern.
right, it was a good knock on the head.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's why I have that. What percent of the day were you happy?
Right. Well, when I wasn't distracting myself with those kinds of circular thoughts, it was great.
Yeah,
But what I do is if that does happen, I'll say, okay, I know why that's happening. Let's just erase the pain and then it will be gone and I'll stop. And that's how I think
oh,
a lot of things are. If you can catch yourself in the pattern and stop it, it changes.
right. I'm supposed to ask you if there's a 12 on that paper. Is there a number 12 on that paper?
On what paper?
The one that you sent me?
Oh, let's see. Let me add it up. Just see. That's 10, 15, 11, 12. Okay. So why should people go to a psychic or an intuitive to make their lives better and
Oh,
or to problem solve?
oh. Um, well, actually, you shouldn't. If you're 100% happy where you are, everything is going exactly the way you want it. Your idea of wealthy has been met. Your idea of health has been met. Your idea of relationship has been met. Then keep it up. But most people aren't there yet. I would like to be optimistic. And so
Right.
going to a psychic, or in my case, an oracle, is going to jet speed you to the results that you want. And so you have a choice. You're, this old right now in life. So you tried it that way for 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 years. Maybe you want to try something new.
So in other words, they should all go to your website, cynthiasegal.com, find your number and leave you a question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the energy is really different right now. And as you know, it can be quite dense. And a
Yes.
lot of times, just having someone lift you up for a few minutes makes it all different.
Right. Oh, and you should go to my website and read the testimonials page. You'll be amazed at what's possible in a few moments with me, which is actually, I like to think of myself, we're all like radio station. We each have our own frequency. And so what I do is get onto your frequency and just bring through the information that's there for you. Once I teach you how to listen, you can do it yourself. But until then, call me and let's get that good stuff flowing.
Yeah, let's get the good frequency going.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really simple. Like I had someone who was so worried about her daughter, and I was like, she doesn't want us to interfere. Why don't we just say that she makes the right decisions for herself? And
Beautiful.
she said, so I shouldn't review them with her or talk to her about them. I said, you can listen if she's talking about them, but don't
Right.
say anything. Just keep saying within yourself, she's making all the right decisions. She has the tools to make all the best decisions for herself.
Right.
So
So
it's
you
not,
taught her how to use magic to make her life
yeah.
better.
hmm But that's fun. It's easy. And I
It's
couldn't get the
easy.
person's permission for me to clear them and put them in a better place. But I thought if her mother thinks that about her, it will put her in a better place.
Right. Right. And also, there are people that are happy being not happy. They're
I
not
know.
happy being not happy, but they think they're happy. And
Well, yeah,
so
you're reading that person. We both know it.
I just send them love and light. And
Yeah, and not let it come in too much. But it helps if you have a phrase that you can repeat that's
yes, it does.
relatively neutral but benevolent.
Benevolent is always good.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to say to people. You would be surprised at some of the things that you can do that are relatively simple but make a pretty big impact.
Yes, when I am having trouble getting through to someone, um, either, in business situation or something, for me personally, then I'll talk to their higher self. I'll actually go inside me and talk to their higher self and make my suggestions there. And I can't tell you how often it comes out of their mouth a short time later. Wow, I
hmm
just had this idea that maybe.
Well, that's the best, though, when it comes from their inner self and they get aligned with it.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then that's just, for me, that's just a really happy thing because that's really where we want everyone to go. So, one of the things I did want to ask you about that we haven't talked about is Cynthia has a number system that she uses muscle testing with.
Right. Right.
And other people can use this too. You already told us about the day, but what about shopping or going places? How does it apply to that?
Right. So let's say you've been invited to a party and then you get invited to another party. How do you decide which party to go to? Well, you could do muscle testing and you would get a yes on both of them. But
hmm
using the numbering system, one might be a 10 and one might be a million, which makes the choice pretty clear. So,
Right,
and I use that on makeup and on clothes, and probably why I chose this is
right.
because
This
you
is why
chose
we ended
that.
up matching. Yeah.
Exactly. So, why not use it for everything, for food, for should I put gas in my car at this station or at another station, or should I go for coffee now or later in the day, or should I go to sleep now or can I stay up and play?
hmm
Create your best life by following your guidance.
Right. So, if you were going to teach someone how to use those numbers, let's just say grocery store, what would you test for with a grocery store and how would you do it?
Okay, so first I have to raise their energy or teach them how to
hmm
raise their energy because you can only test as high as you are. So if your energy is a 10, you can everything in the store is going to be a 10. But if
Right.
your energy is 1,000, then you have a little bit more
Room.
play. And then once we get your energy up, then you would just ask, what does this, whatever piece of fish, test on me? And
Right.
if you get a 10, that 10 is really the bottom line of good in my
Mhm.
system. Anything below that, stay away from it. So if you get a 10, then you can ask, is there anything higher or better in the store for me? And
That's a good way to do it.
yeah, someone was telling me that they use what I teach called the human pendulum, which is where, you move forward and backward with your body. And she said, I asked that about this meat that I was looking at. Was there anything better for me in the store than this? And I got thrown so far back. I met a new friend as it taught me.
But it does explain why sometimes you go to the grocery store and you're determined you're going to get this, 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 and you can't buy it.
Right,
It's because
right.
it's not in resonance with you.
Exactly. And the other day I wanted chicken so badly. I wanted a roasted chicken. And so I, in my mind, went through the places I usually buy it and got no everywhere. And I thought, okay, if it's meant to be, it will come to me. And so I went around following my guidance. Should I go to this store now? Should I go that store? Should I go this way? Should I make a left here? Should I go straight here? I test everything because why not follow your best light? And I ended up in a store that I love in a new section, just as they were putting out a pan full of fresh off the grilled chicken.
Right. And that was what you really wanted.
Exactly. But when I tested, should I go to that store for it? They hadn't cooked it yet. So the answer was no.
Oh, I see. Yeah. But it does explain it because I know lots of times I'll go like, I'm going to buy trout. I'm going to buy cherries. And then I'm like, I can't buy those. So what we're talking about is that with resonance, it's what's in harmony with the higher part of you. So when
Right.
she's saying you have to get your vibration up, we're talking about that connection between the spiritual world and your physical body. And you have to be up high enough to perceive it.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then if you do, probably whatever you're eating is 3 or 4 times as good for your body.
Absolutely. An example, I wanted a coffee this morning and I was told I couldn't go to that place for coffee. And I'm like, why can't I go there? Maybe I'll just like accidentally drive by there. It was covered in police cars. So
Oh,
I'm like,
interesting.
oh, okay, I'm not getting coffee from there right now.
Right. But there's always a reason once you learn to muscle test when you're
Right,
getting no or you're getting the message. And that's an
right.
important part of it.
And also to keep in mind you're testing in the now.
Hmm. And how do you do
So,
that? I never have thought of that.
well, you're testing now as a default.
Oh, I see.
Can I eat cherries?
Hmm.
Defaults to now. So if you get a no, you could be like sneaky and say, can I eat cherries in an hour? I
Right.
do that with chocolate. I'm horrible with that.
Hmm.
I can't eat chocolate. Okay, what about like after lunch? Can I have chocolate?
Right. But it's fun and it makes life more fun because you get that there's a whole nother layer into it. And I think that one thing that people get from readings or sessions is seeing a different point of view. Because when you're
Right,
stuck, you can only see your point of view.
right. And if I can get you out of your head and into testing, then you ask the question. I have a rule of testing. You ask the question, you get the answer, and then let it go. There's
Right.
no more information on it. Let's go play with something else.
Yeah.
So that can bring you a lot of peace.
And it doesn't mean that you won't get another answer later, but it means
Right.
until something shifts, that's where you are.
Like chocolate after lunch.
Hmm. But it's a
Yeah.
very fascinating thing to me that I've seen so many times is that if you can focus on something that's in greater resonance with you, who you really are, your problem does start to recede almost immediately.
Exactly. So why would someone call me? Why would they not? Unless you are in that group of happy being unhappy.
Right. And there are a lot of people like that, let's get
I
real.
know. It's too many.
But I know there are lots and lots of you who want to go to the next step. And if so, then why don't you get your free question? Mhm. And so that's pretty much where we are. Do you have anything coming up in the near future? that you want to share? You'll probably be doing classes after the first of the year.
Yeah, it'll be before then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking closer into November. We'll
Right.
do classes once a week. And then I also like group sessions where you just call in and you ask your question and everyone else asks the question. And it turns out that your question was of importance to someone else also.
Mm-hmm.
What a coincidence.
I'm sure if they sign up for your newsletter, they can get that. So we're,
Right. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Leave your
yes.
email on my website, right? You get lots of goodies.
So we're coming to the end, and I'll tell you again, you can find me at onetrueself.com, and you can sign up for my newsletter. And I'm here the second and fourth Wednesdays of each month. So come back, find me, and let's do some more work together. And Cynthia, thank you so much for being my guest today. I deeply appreciate it
My pleasure. I love playing with you.
too.
Thank you for listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Join us next time as Julia takes us deeper into the memory of the moments of light where transcendence and enlightenment emerge. The memory of the jewel of consciousness is always lived within you to tap into waves of energy and create huge changes by imagining the beauty of the vision and desires that are hidden in the heart. Learn to find your way back to nature, beauty, and your own heart, which holds the secrets of your existence and future. To discover more about Julia's adventures, animal communication, and the teachings she brings to every show, visit onetrueself.com. That's onetrueself.com. That's ONE, trueself.com.